The time is just gone 16 minutes past 9 on this beautiful day of Jummah. If you have just tuned in, we wish you well on this day of Jummah. Jummah Mubarak to one and all our listeners, our viewers on Salam Media, as we welcome you once again on the various platforms on the second hour of the show. And looking ahead at what we can expect is next up we're going to hear or we're going to watch a one-on-one, and this is between Al-Hajj Maurice Saleh Khan and Clive Stafford Smith, who is the British attorney for Dr. Aafia Siddiqui. And sadly, 20 years have actually flown by, and many of us will recall when the story of Dr. Aafia Siddiqui, her incarceration, her disappearance for 5 years in Afghanistan, and subsequently when she was taken to the United States of America, the sham trial, the mock trial that had taken place, and where she was sentenced to 86 years in prison. And so much has happened to this woman over this period of time, beaten, tortured, to the extent that even the desecration of the noble Quran, her Quran was also taken, and they wanted to actually force her to stand on the Holy Quran. And all of this has been playing out. You will recall the two visits to South Africa by Dr. Aafia Siddiqui, highlighting the plight of a sister, and also looking at the international solidarity, the Afia movement, and this has been ongoing. It's been a long struggle. It's been a hard battle for the Siddiqui family, and during all of this time, the mother who had been yearned to see her daughter coming back home, she had sadly passed on, and also the government that had changed over a period of time, each Pakistani government making a promise to bring back the daughter of the nation home, but nothing of that had materialized. There was opportunity for a prisoner swap. Raymond Davis, a spy who was caught in Pakistan, the Pakistan government let him free, and today he is a free man, while Aafia Siddiqui still languishes at the Carswell Institute in Texas, in the United States of America. And this is quite important because in the last 20 years, the family has had absolutely no contact whatsoever. There was a time for years where there was not even a single telephone call that had come to the family, and they did not even know whether Afia was alive or she was dead. They had to contend with a number of scenarios where rumors about her death had actually started to surface. That had become traumatizing for the family. And also at the same time, looking at her children, how they have actually grown. Ahmed and Maryam have grown. The baby Suleiman, at this point in time, nobody knows what has happened to this little baby who was 6 months old when Afia Siddiqui was abducted on her way to Islamabad. But Dr. Fawzia Siddiqui finally managed to get a visa. She flew to the United States of America, and for 3 days, she has had an opportunity to be with her sister, the two sisters reunited under difficult circumstances behind plexiglass. She was not even allowed to actually touch or hug her sister. She was not able to even show any photographs she had of the children to her sister. And all of this was done in the presence of her lawyer, Clive Stafford Smith. And we continue making dua for her freedom. We continue making dua for the Siddiqui family, and they have been through just so much over the last 20 years. It's been a traumatizing experience, but at the same time, the family has not lost hope, and we continue having hope that someday we will see the freedom of Dr. Aafia Siddiqui and to be reunited with her family. What we're going to do right now is play out this interview, this one-on-one interview that Al-Hajj Maurice Saleh Khan, the director of the Aafia Foundation in the United States of America, with Clive Stafford Smith, the lawyer who is representing Aafia Siddiqui.
What did you observe, from the very first moments of the first visit up until the second visit yesterday? What did you observe from Fauzia?
Well, I mean, let me say first that, I am the number one member of the Fauzia Siddiqui fan club. I think, she's been a fabulous support for her sister.
Mhm.
And she has all these human things, and I just total nonsense, where she thinks how she hasn't done enough. Let me tell you, I mean, I was working on a case just this last week here in Texas where the loving brother of the guy who's been in prison for 25 years never went to see him, and he lives just down the road from him. Now, that's not because the brother's a bad guy, it's because of all sorts of personal issues. But, in comparison, Fauzi has created a 1 million-person march in Islamabad, and she's toured the world to try to get support for her sister. So, she carries a lot of guilt, as older siblings apparently do. I don't know, I'm the youngest, so I don't have any guilt about my brother and sister. Mm-hmm. So she does feel guilty that she hasn't done enough, which is rubbish. But it's been, I think, incredibly important to get her here. It's been incredibly difficult for her to see her sister. There's all very well people thinking, prison is for bad people and we need to lock them up. I'm sorry, I just disagree. I don't think you'd send anyone you love to a place like FMC Castle. And to have to go there, I don't think Fauzi has been to a lot of prisons. I've been to lots of prisons. It's always an immensely depressing place to go. Actually, more of a depressing place to leave when you're leaving someone you care for in prison. And I think that takes an immense toll on Fauzi. And look, Mari, you may complain about your lack of sleep. I think you've had a lot more sleep this week than poor Fauzi has. Yes, she's worried about these things.
Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap this up with whatever you feel needs to be conveyed to our viewers and listeners in South Africa, in Norway, in the United Kingdom, in Pakistan, home country, and certainly here in the United States. What are the final thoughts? Oh, before we get to a final thought, there's a senator here from Pakistan. What is the role that he has played in this process of coming from Pakistan to the United States around this now internationally renowned prisoner, Dr. Aafia Siddiqui?
So Senator Mushtaq Ahmed, I have immense respect for him too. He has come here, he traveled halfway around the world, and he told me that visiting Aafia was his number one thing he wanted to do in his life. And actually, he was in there with us for one of the meetings.
Okay.
And the senator's a charming guy, and he laughed a lot, and he got Aafia laughing a lot. And they were quoting poetry at each other, and thankfully they didn't burst into song. And so I think it was a tremendous thing. But he's from one of the very small parties in Pakistan, so I'm not sure that his party has much of an influence. But at the same time, that doesn't really matter. He's willing to make this the focus of much of his work in Pakistan. And we, this is the bottom line. You folk out there about what you need to do for Aafia. Excuse me while I choke. The problem here at the moment lies with Pakistan. I think we can sort out the American end of things if the Pakistanis comply. And for this, sort of like when you deal with our erstwhile president, I should say I didn't vote for, Donald Trump, and the book he wrote, the art of the deal. We've got to have a deal. I mean, this is not really about the law. We'll do some legal things. There are important legal things we need to do. But this is really about a deal between Pakistan and the United States. We in Pakistan want our daughter back. Good. What are we going to give the Americans in return? Now, I'm not saying that's morally correct. Actually, Aafia should be sent home with a vast compensation, but that's not going to happen. So what we need to figure out is what Pakistan is willing to do to get the daughter of Pakistan back. And that needs to be some sort of swap. And, look, I've gone on record saying I think they should swap Shakil Afridi for Aafia. Dr. Afridi, as you know, was the person who apparently helped the Americans kill bin Laden.
Yes.
Now, whatever you think about that, and I'm not a big fan of assassination under any circumstances, but that would be something America wants, and then Pakistan gets something they want, and that makes sense. And we should do something like that. Now, I understand that they don't have the courage to come out into the open and talk yet, but I hope they will talk to me, that there are people in Pakistan who oppose that. But fine, let's have that conversation. I suspect that they're afraid that when Aafia comes back to Pakistan, she'll tell the world about what these people did. Well, I'll tell you right now, so you don't have to worry about that. We're just going to talk about it now. It was the Pakistan authorities who sold her to the Americans for $55,000, sold her so she was abducted in Karachi, uniquely with her 3 children with her. There was Ahmed, who was 5 years old, Mariam, who was 3, and Suleiman, who was about 7 months. And they managed to, apparently, and this is not certain, but they apparently managed to drop Suleiman and killed him. Now, we haven't got that for sure, and one of the great traumas for Aafia and Fauzia is he really dead? And we need to sort that out. But they also sent poor Mariam off into forced adoption into some American family for 5 years. And Ahmed was sent to Afghanistan, where they changed his name, put him in a juvenile prison for 5 years, treated him abysmally, and told him if he said that he was Aafia's son, they'd kill him. And it was only thanks to the amazing work of Fauzia, helped by others, that both Ahmed and Mariam came out of that. So, this is what Pakistan did back then. They're responsible for that in part. We, the Americans, are responsible for the rest. It's a disgusting crime against Aafia and against humanity. But we're not looking to send lots of people to prison or punish them or whatever. We're not interested in that. We're interested in... So what I say to those people in Pakistan who are the holdup in this is, don't worry about your own self-interest. Just help us sort out an agreement that gets Aafia home. And we're not going to, Aafia is not interested in going on television and exposing everyone. She needs to be home with her family, getting treatment for all the trauma that she's been through these 20 years.
Well, that was the interview that Alhaj Maurice Salah Khan had with the British attorney representing Dr. Aafia Siddiqui, Clive Stafford Smith, and the message from the lawyer is loud and clear, and a message that goes to the Pakistani government that you need to do something, because at this point in time there has been an absolutely total lack of political will on the part of the Pakistan government to do something about Aafia Siddiqui, to get her repatriation. And we heard even the ambassador talking about Aafia Siddiqui, and at the very least, what they are trying to do is to move Aafia Siddiqui to another prison. And this also is problematic in a sense that Aafia Siddiqui is not guilty. She's not guilty of any crime. And why should she even be moved to another prison? It is about her freedom. She needs to come back, and as right towards the end, Clive Stafford Smith says she needs to come home. She needs to be treated. She's not interested in exposing anybody. 20 years. I mean, how does one actually undo what has actually happened to a person? And this is now a woman that held so much promise, a woman that had the potential of changing the whole of Pakistan, of changing the world through education. And this is has been her strength. She has written an entire syllabus, an educational curriculum from grade 1 right until grade 12, where each and every child, by the time they would have left the schooling system, they would actually have had be empowered so much knowledge to the extent that each child would be a Hafizul Quran that had gone through that system. Now, this is a potential that Dr. Aafia Siddiqui had. This is a vision that she had. This is a change she wanted to see in Pakistan. And all of that basically just thrown away. And we continue making dua, we continue supporting the cause for the freedom of Dr. Aafia Siddiqui. And with that, we're going to go for a break. The time is just gone 9:32. We still have got the opening of the Mdani Masjid in Soweto this morning. We will be talking with the Imam, and we'll be talking with Hafiz Yahya Janki. And also, we've got Hajj Diaries coming up. And this morning, we are talking with Ridwan Zoutenberg, live out of Medina, overwhelmed with emotions as this great pillar of Hajj looms.